And welcome back to Nancy's Neighborhood, folks. And like I said earlier, this is a miserable day in Nancy's Neighborhood, but we're still glad to be here. And I'm so glad that Shannon came, and I'm so glad that Chrissy came. So my next guest is Chrissy Pugh, and Chrissy's with Family Cornerstones. That is plural because we have 4 cornerstones. And welcome, Chrissy.
Thank you.
So good to have you on. And she wants to talk specifically about one of our cornerstones, but I want her to kind of tell you just a broad overview of Family Cornerstones, and then we'll focus in on what we want to talk about.
Perfect. So Family Cornerstones has 4 main programs. We serve families with children prenatal all the way through high school. We have an early education program, a mentoring program, a middle school program, and a teen leadership program. And all of those programs work on strengthening family relationships and bonds between parents and children and exposing teens to opportunities in the community. But ultimately our goal is to eliminate poverty for the next generation of children. So strengthening this generation so that the next generation is more stable and able to provide better, no matter what risk factors they overcame.
And I think that is awesome. I think Family Cornerstones does a great job. And my favorite program, not to hurt anybody's feelings out there that works for Family Cornerstones, but my favorite program is the Starfish Program, and that's what we wanted to talk about mainly today because, first of all, they've gotten a great recognition.
Yes.
But explain to people what Starfish does.
So Starfish is an in-home parent education program. It goes into the home and works with parents who have children prenatal to 5, and the goal is to prepare those at-risk children for kindergarten. And so we have certified parent educators that are trained to teach a parents as teachers curriculum, and they bring activities, games, books. There's a lot of focus on literacy, learning letter recognition, number recognition, but they work with the parents on how to be that child's first and best educator. So how to make sure that their child is developing appropriately, reaching all of their age-appropriate milestones, what activities parents can do with their children to really booster that learning window, and how to make sure that when their children start kindergarten, they are on track and ready to learn just like every other kid in their class.
And I think that's awesome. And I think oftentimes, as a former educator, I think oftentimes the parents don't really know what to do.
Sure.
And I know I have a friend who has a developmentally challenged child, and she didn't realize he was developmentally challenged until she had her second child. And he started doing things much earlier than the first child who maybe hadn't even achieved it yet.
Yeah.
And so the milestone that we were looking at comparing, then she realized that there was a developmental problem. And I think sometimes that happens, and of course we're not there to diagnose developmental problems, but we're there to help parents understand the steps, the stages, that the kids go through.
Right, exactly. And all of the families in the program have some at-risk indicator that qualifies them for Starfish. So they may be a low-income family. It might be parents who have a low educational attainment, so they didn't graduate high school, military families, single parents, teenage mothers, any of those things, because the research shows that those children are more likely than your average child to fall behind in school, and once they fall behind, it's really, really hard to get caught up. And so we want to make sure that they're not behind when they start, but also the research shows that a parent's influence is the #1 factor in a child's ability to succeed. And so if we can encourage those parents at an early age that they can make a difference and they can be involved with their child's education and the importance of that, then hopefully they stay involved for the rest of their child's school career, which just boosters their chances of doing well. So
absolutely. And I think, as a former educator and on the school board, we promote reading 20 minutes, and if you can be read to or read for 20 minutes a day, it helps. So sometimes I think we are in situations where maybe the parents aren't comfortable reading to the child, because they don't read well themselves.
Sure.
And so I think this is great that we have a program that goes in and helps them work with that too.
Yeah, and all of our families, we encourage all of our families to sign up for the Imagination Library.
Absolutely.
Because a lot of times they just don't have access to books in the home. When we go in for visits, we always bring books and work with the parent on reading to the child and the importance of that, even from birth, before the child can talk, the importance of just hearing those words and how that boosters their development.
Absolutely, and even if it's just picture books when they're small, if you just have a picture book and you show them pictures and you talk about the giraffe or the the elephant or whatever it is, and the monkey in the tree or something, that also helps with language development, and it will later help with their reading skills. So I think this is an awesome program.
Yeah.
It's the reason that I am so fond of Family Cornerstones. Not that the other programs aren't good, folks. I said that, but this Starfish, to me, as a former elementary school teacher, it's great to be sure those kids get a good start.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and we are really excited. So Starfish is an affiliate of a national program called Parents as Teachers, and there's a couple other Parents as Teachers programs in Tennessee. But every year, Parents as Teachers selects some of their affiliate programs to go through basically a qualification to see if we're meeting all of the standards that Parents as Teachers has set, to make sure that we are meeting their essential requirements that show that we're providing a good service to their children. And then it's about a year-long process, and yeah, it's pretty intensive. And once you get through it, if you meet all of those qualifications and you demonstrate that you're a high-quality program, then you're awarded a blue ribbon. And so we just received our blue ribbon affiliate status at the beginning of October.
Yay, that's awesome.
Yeah, Jennifer Ratcliffe is the director of Starfish, and she worked really, really hard. Like I said, it took about a year to go through, and they look in depth at what we're doing when we're going into the home and what we're documenting and how well we're planning, and are our families meeting goals every year, and are their children meeting their milestones, and all of that stuff. And so it just really shows the quality of the service that we provide, and we're just really glad to be able to not only be recognized for that, but just be able to know that we're providing high quality service to the families we serve.
Absolutely, and like you say, to win that award, you have to jump through a whole bunch of hoops and be sure every I is dotted and every T is crossed. Now let me ask you this. What if a child, a 2-year-old, lives with a grandparent? Can we go in there and do Starfish with them too?
Yeah.
Okay.
We work with any whoever is the primary caretaker of that child. And so we work with a lot of grandparents. We've worked with, sometimes even mom and child may live with grandma.
Oh, okay.
But maybe mom works, and so we just do a home visit with grandma and child. But it's pretty flexible, and so whoever's there, a lot of times if we go into a home where it's mom and dad, the dad may not be present because he's working. But then when we do monthly group events, Dad gets to come and do some hands-on stuff then too. So yeah, we try and just incorporate whoever is involved in that child's life, and whoever is going to be able to have an impact.
That is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Now let me ask you this. Do we have a quota that we serve? I mean, is there a limit of kids we can take?
Yeah, so we have 3 parent educators. Jennifer is the director, and then she carries a part-time caseload. Amy has a full caseload, and Kim has a part-time caseload. And so they each have a limit on the number of families they can take, and after that we start a waiting list. But we really prioritize those families based on the risk factors. So we may have a family that just has one risk indicator, and so they're get put on a waiting list, but then if we have a family who maybe is in immediate crisis, they might get bumped to the top of that waiting list just because that child's more in need of services right away. So we try and serve families as quickly as possible, but yeah, we do get full, and oftentimes we are full, or we run close to full. But then when they're on the waiting list, they can still come to our monthly group events.
Oh, that's neat.
And they still get contact information for a parent educator. They can still be part of the Facebook group. So we try and make sure that they still have a point of contact to ask questions and to start dialogue about what's going on with their child. Even if we can't do those in-home visits, we still try and keep them engaged until we have space open up for them to fully enroll.
And I think that's awesome. Now, if anyone hearing us today says, I have a child, or my daughter has a child, or whatever, how do they contact you?
So they can call our office, and that number is 423-559-1112, or they can visit our website, and that's www.familycornerstones.org. Either one of those ways we can get their information. We enroll children if they're 3 years or younger, because that allows us that maximum amount of time. But if you have a child who is 4 or 5 or even in early elementary school, and you think there's some developmental concerns or you have some questions, we can come out and do an evaluation on your child, and see if there's services that we can connect you to that might serve, or if a discussion with the pediatrician is necessary. We can give you a copy of the evaluation we did, so you can kind of go in with some backup of what's going on. So we can serve families in that way as well. And then we just started a group program. It's called What You Do Matters. And that is, we just finished our first class, so we'll have another one that starts in the spring. But it's a 6-week program. Families come once a week for 6 weeks. And that allows us to serve families in a group setting if we can't go into the home. And you can have children up to the age of 5 for that program. So if you have a 4 or 5-year-old and they're too old to enroll in Starfish, but you still want just some parenting help before they start kindergarten, you can sign up for What You Do Matters, and we'll get them connected that way too.
And that's awesome.
Yeah.
I did not know about that program. That is fantastic. So now let me ask you this real quickly, because I think Alex is waving at me. Okay. Oh, we're good. Okay. Once you start them in Starfish, are these the same students that stay with us through all of our programs, or do we swap? I mean, are there others that join us? How does this work?
So they can. It's up to them. Once Starfish serves prenatal to 5, so once the children enter kindergarten, they officially graduate from Starfish, but then our mentoring program picks up at kindergarten. So if they went through Starfish and the parents feel like they still just need some help with social skills or things like that, then we can get them connected with a mentor, and that goes through middle school. And then when they're in middle school, we have transitions that they can, and transitions works on the parent and child relationship. How do you deal with a teenager?
What do you do?
And so we can pick them up there. And then our teen leadership program also starts in middle school and goes until high school. So I mean, a family could really start prenatally and go all the way through high school if they want to.
And that's awesome.
But yeah.
And everybody there's a support system there to back up all of those different ages, and that's why it's Family Cornerstones.
Yes.
Because there's 4 cornerstones in the program. Chrissy, thank you so much. This has been so enlightening, even for me that thought I knew a little bit about Family Cornerstones, to be enlightened with this, and I just think it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're just really excited about the What You Do Matters program and being able to serve more.
Awesome.
And we're super excited about having a blue ribbon and just being able to show our donors that they're investing in something that's a really high quality program. So yeah, thanks for having us on.
Well, and now that you said donors, because you are a 501c3.
We are.
And so that means you are a nonprofit organization, yet it takes money to do these programs that you're doing. So if anyone would like to donate to Family Cornerstones, how do they do that?
Yeah, so they can go on our website and donate online through our website, or our P.O. Box is P.O. Box 5404, and that's Cleveland, Tennessee 37320. And so you can send in a check. We can take credit card donations. So yeah, lots of ways. You can call the office. We can do it over the phone, but all of our programs are provided at no cost to the families, because a lot of our families are low income. So we try and make sure that they can receive services, but then we really rely on our donors to help support it. So.
And I think that is awesome. I really do. So give them the phone number one more time and your website.
It's 423-559-1112 or familycornerstones.org.
Thank you, Chrissy, so much for being on with me today.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming out in this terrible weather, for floating over and for the interview. But
Get your
thank
rowboat.
you so yes, thank you so much. Folks, don't go away. I'll be back on in just a few minutes after these commercials, which you need to watch because they support us and you need to support them. And I will be back to tell you some other things that are coming up in Cleveland, Brady County. So don't go away. I'll be right back.